Hello, welcome back to the Jet Press Podcast. My name is Justin Fried, and I'm joined as always by my good friend
What
Mike.
are you smiling about?
It's another day, man. Happy to be alive. Nothing bad's going on, right? Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about. Dante Moore has officially announced his decision to return to Oregon for another season. So we're gonna get into a lot of Jets quarterback discussions because there's there's a lot going on right now. Ty Simpson, Kyler Murray, Garrett Nussmeier, Marcus Merritt, Tyrod Taylor, Brady Cook.
A combination of all of those names to some degree?
Maybe. We'll probably talk about the defensive coordinator stuff too, but we got a lot to talk about with Dante Moore. So, Mike, how you feeling, buddy? What's going on?
I've had better days. I'm not apoplectic. Dante Moore was the guy I wanted to be the Jets quarterback and the number 2 pick, but that's not happening. We gain no benefit in sulking and whining. We can only move forward. So we're going to talk about Dante Moore's decision, which I think is incredibly, unfathomably stupid, but we're going to talk about it, and we're going to move forward.
Tell us how you really feel, my friend.
You had $50 million up there, and you went, don't need it. I'm going to win a meaningless championship ring.
As I've been saying for weeks, I didn't think this was a lock that he was going to declare. I think in the age of NIL, it's a very different world, and I also think that everyone has different priorities, and I think Dante Moore wants to go back, and he wants to win a national championship, and I think he's also very well aware that he may not be NFL ready right now, and he was likely not going to be starting week 1, even if he would declare for the draft.
That's 2 quarterbacks who have utterly no confidence, and Moore, and then Chambliss, who's begging on his hands and knees to go back to Ole Miss. He's suing everybody because he's scared of the NFL.
I'm never going to criticize a guy. It's his decision. He can make that decision. I don't think it's necessarily a terrible one.
Chambliss doesn't have a decision to make, and he's trying to bend the rules here. So
that's future Jets quarterback, shouldn't that, Chambliss, to you?
So we'll get into all that. You know where to find us: Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there to support the show. Like the stream, big help. Subscribe, big help. Hype the video, big help. That's how you help push us up that algorithm, help us make more content, and it gets you some good karma. If you just want some good karma, if you're of that persuasion, it'll help there. So let's go talk about how this is, no matter what you thought of Dante Moore, and no matter how bad I thought he was in the Indiana games, I didn't think he was terrible. I thought he was bad, but
he wasn't good.
I thought the entire Oregon team just got ran over by an all-time great college team. Like, I think Isaiah World cost himself a lot of money. The center that went back to school, I know he cost himself a lot of money. I don't think the defense exactly covered themselves in gold in that game. So I don't think really who played well for Oregon in that game. I can't really find anybody. So that
it was a beatdown.
It was a beatdown, yeah. So if that one game alone made you say I'm out on Dante Moore, that's a problem. Now, if you looked at the whole body of work and said I want to draft a guy that high with his limited starts, like that's at least an argument you can have.
Sure.
If he declared, I still would have picked him at 2. I think Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn would have picked him at 2, and it would have been the right move. Even if he doesn't play a lot in year 1. You get a guy with great arm talent, with great leadership, everybody says. He's accurate. I like how he moves in the pocket and can still get throws off. But we're not going to worry about that until at least one more year. Because maybe they'll get him in 2027. Who knows?
I think Jets fans are going to be very snake bitten by this, and I don't think Jets fans will want Dante Moore in 2027.
Yeah, if he's good again, they don't, and the quarterback they get for 2026 is bad again, they'll do anything.
You're not wrong, but I do think fans will hold grudges here.
So it's bad no matter what you want to do, because now the Jets don't have a quarterback, or at least a top quarterback target. He's off the board. Yeah. And if you're of the we'll trade down and build the roster, which I'm not too high on in this draft. Number one, you already have 4 picks. That's what teams trade down to do, is to get the extra picks that the Jets already have, because they did their trading earlier. And number 2, I'm kind of upset the Patriots didn't take that mindset and go, oh, if we get J.C. Latham and a pass rusher, we need that before we get Drake May.
Oh.
And look how they're doing.
Well, there's no Drake May in this class. At least
I understand, but kicking the can down the road, the road's only so long. Eventually, you run out of it.
Sure.
So even if you were of that persuasion, well, now there's no quarterback trading up for. There's players worth trading up for. I don't know if somebody does like a Texans with Will Anderson a couple of years ago and gives you just an extra first. I don't think that'll happen. But no matter what you want the Jets to do, it's just not good news. Now, immediately, January 14th, we're recording this. That's where we're live on YouTube and all that. If you had to ask me if the draft was tomorrow, what do? I am taking one of either Arvell Reese or Caleb Downs at number 2.
Downs at 2.
I think how badly do the Jets need a safety?
No. Downs is awesome. Downs might be. You could argue Downs is the best player in this class. Like, if you, irrespective of position, he might be. I can't get behind Downs at 2. I can get behind Downs at like 6, 7, or 8 every week on the show, bro. And dude, it's at like 7 if you trade down, right? But like you mentioned, Mike, and this goes as a general statement. Dante Moore not being in this draft sucks for the Jets for multiple reasons. One, because even if you were to draft him, now you can't draft him. But even if you weren't, like you said, Mike, who's trading up to 2?
Exactly. So now Downs is my number 2 option. Reese is number 1. Bain is number 3. I would like Ruben Bain a lot, but that's not a bad option. If Ruben Bain is the pick at number 2, I'm very happy with that. But I would prefer Arvell Reese because I think the ceiling's higher.
Sure.
And then at number 16, I don't care if I get called desperate. I'm taking Ty Simpson. And I think that the Jets would consider that too, because in my mind, there are only 2 options that this front office, or Aaron Glenn specifically, because I think Muji's got a longer leash. Whether that's deserved or not, we can argue about that. I think there are 2 things that Aaron Glenn can do that will not end up with him getting fired next year. I think if you get Kyler Murray and do a veteran swing,
and I want to talk about Murray in a second.
He could still end up getting fired if the team is bad, but if they win 7 or 8 games, you're keeping Aaron Glenn and you're rolling with Kyler Murray for 2027 where you have 3 first-round picks to really build a roster. Or if you get the young guy this year, Simpson, in the first round and he looks halfway decent. Because if they take a guy in the second round, like a Carson Beck or a Garrett Nussmeier or a Trinidad Chambliss or a Drew All or whoever the name is, and they're still bad, Aaron Glenn's not coming back. Those are the only 2 things the Jets can do, or Aaron Glenn can do, to give him some job security. So as a result, I expect one of those 2 to be a Jet, maybe both, if they want to sit Simpson for a year, because for all the, Dante Moore hasn't started enough games, Ty Simpson has started fewer games.
Yes.
So I don't hear that criticism, and played worse against Indiana, I would argue. So if those are the 2 options that I'm considering, anything else, all these veteran stopgaps, these Cousins, Mariota, and then build the roster, whatever, like that may work long-term for the Jets. It may be the right strategy, but they're not in a position to think like that because Aaron Glenn, his leash is incredibly short.
This is, and I'll get to some of these comments in a sec because we got a very active chat.
Yes.
I'm not shocked considering the timing of the Dante Moore news, but this is a classic case of Aaron Glenn and even to an extent Darren Muji. Their best interests aren't necessarily aligned with the Jets as an organization's best interests. Because ideally, you say, all right, we have 3 first-round picks in 2027. And look, man, I know you never want to be like, oh, yeah, next year's class looks better. I would be shocked if next year's quarterback class is not better than this one. Like,
they have 6 guys in the first
round. I'd be stunned, right? You never know what could happen.
Well, not Raiola anymore because he's backing up next year.
Right. Yeah. But, I mean, just Arch, right? Sellers is going to be back. Julian Sayin, maybe even CJ Carr. Dante Moore is now back. Like, there's just so many names in that class that I'd be shocked if all of them fell off, right? You never know, but I'd be shocked. Certainly should be better than this year's class. So ideally, you would say, okay, we have 3 first-round picks next year. I know we just bottomed out this year, but probably for the best of the organization, it'd be all right to just roll this year with Marcus Mariota or whoever the hell, right? Maybe you get a guy on day 2 and you see if you got anything there, like what the Saints just did with Tyler Shuck. It's like, maybe we got something here. If we do, cool, great. We're feeling great. We can use those first-round picks in 2027 to address other needs.
Saints are feeling pretty good about themselves after doing that with Shuck.
Absolutely they are. Or maybe the second-round quarterback you pick sucks. And, all right, you're not necessarily you could still take a quarterback in 2027. If you use a first-round pick on a quarterback this year, you likely can't do that. And that goes for Ty Simpson at 16. I don't think you draft Ty Simpson or even anybody, right, in the first round and then give up on them after 1 year. If you're investing that capital in them, you're going to give them more than 1 year. So ideally, I think they would go the veteran stopgap route in day 2. But like you said, Mike, I don't think this regime can do that. I don't think they have the luxury of being able to.
Muji might. Glenn can't.
I honestly, in a lot of ways, I think they're going to be tied together. I think Muji's done better than Glenn, but I know you mentioned that the 2 ways that Glenn can save his job is, you got to win games, get like a Kyler option, or maybe you draft somebody and that young quarterback looks good. Realistically, I think the only way he saves his job is if you win football games. I don't care if they draft Ty Simpson and he looks good. If the Jets win 3 games next year, that's it. Glenn's fired.
Yeah.
Even if Simpson looked good. When Jackson Dart looking good.
But there's at least an argument he can make of like, look, this is our guy. We got the pick. Like, it'd be tough, but you can at least there's at least a non-zero chance if you can argue into a third year.
It helps, but I don't think it would. I don't think it would do it.
If you win 3 games of Kirk Cousins, you're dead.
Of course. I think if you win 3 games regardless, you're dead. Like I look at Brian Dable's job wasn't safe because Jackson Dart looked good. And that was a case of Dart looking good in a lot of ways because of Dable. It's not like Glenn is going to be the guy that's making this quarterback look good, right? Everyone is aware that, like, yeah, he's got his hands on everything, right? But it's the offensive coaching staff, right? It's Tanner Engstrand. He's going to get more of the credit, as is whoever the quarterback's coach is going to be, or any other offensive personnel, the coaching staff that they have. Those guys would get more credit than Aaron Glenn. So I don't think a young quarterback looking good would save Glenn's job. And this leads all of me to believe. And you know what? I'm going to go on my Kyler Murray rant in a second. I want to get to some of these comments before we do that.
Yes. Real quick before we get to the comments, too. What are your 2-16 picks right now?
Oh, man.
Off the cuff.
Well, okay, so then I got to go on my Kyler Murray. I got to go on my Kyler Murray thing. All right, we'll get to these comments in a second, I promise.
All right.
So last week I put out a long tweet, and I made a TikTok about it too, made a video about it, where I was like, I think the more time has gone on, and this was regardless of what happened with Dante Moore, right? Whether Moore was in this class or not, the more time had gone on, the more likely it is felt to me that Kyler Murray is the really only, I don't want to say good option, because this is a year, unfortunately, where the Jets have the number 2 overall pick, the number 16 overall pick, a ton of draft capital.
The best second round pick.
Yes. And there's really no good quarterback option. Like because right now, like we mentioned, Glenn needs a guy who could start week 1. Not even just week 1. Needs a guy who you can trust to start at least half the season, right? And win games. I don't see any of those guys out there right now. There's really just not much. I'm barring any shock, Joe Burrow becoming available or anything like that. Your options are Kyler Murray, Malik Willis, Jimmy Garoppolo, Marcus Mariota, Gardner Minshew, trade for Mac Jones, trade for Jacoby Brissett, and then anybody in this draft.
Trade for Jameis,
Russell Wilson, or then anybody in this draft class, which is Ty Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Carson Beck, whoever, right? Do you feel confident that any of those guys starting 9, 10, 11 games for the Jets next year, you're going to win games? No, I don't. But of all of those options, the best is probably Kyler Murray. And that's not to say he's a good option. I think Tua is another option. Not a good one. I'd rather Kyler. Tua, no. I don't.
Even if he was a better option than he is, the Dolphins wouldn't trade him in the division. So
correct. I agree with that. And then Kirk Cousins, if he's released, is another option too. But again,
he might go do TV. He's doing like CBS stuff for the play. He might retire, so that could be another option.
So I know that when I made my Kyler Murray take, a lot of people were upset about it. Just know that those are your alternatives, right? So it's like, oh, you could say Kyler Murray sucks. You could say, oh yeah, he's got the injury concerns, the attitude stuff, he's the contract if he's traded, which we don't know if he's going to be traded. All of that is true. What's a better option? Genuinely, like for Aaron Glenn, if you are the Jets and you need to win games this year, what's the best option for you? It's probably Kyler Murray if you're trying to win games in the short term. And that's not to say that that's the decision I would make. I don't think it's necessarily a decision that's in the best interest of the Jets organization. But I do think it's in the best interest of Aaron Glenn and probably Darren Muji as well. So I do think the Jets will be serious contenders for Kyler Murray. There will be a market there. The Steelers, now that Rodgers probably isn't coming back, they're going to be in that conversation. People will say Malik Willis. I've seen a lot of Malik Willis takes.
Him and his 89 pass attempts as a Packer.
Right. The problem with Willis is, one, I think his market's even bigger than Kyler. I think there's going to be teams willing to pay a good amount of money to bring Willis in and bet on
teams.
I think Miami makes a ton of sense for Malik Willis, depending on who they get at head coach. But now they just brought in John Eric Sullivan as general manager.
Jeff Hafley's one of their top candidates. Maybe they go full Packers.
Correct. So I think there's a connection there. Miami makes a lot of sense. But again, the problem with him is, man, if you're Aaron Glenn, are you staking your job, your legacy on the line with 6 Malik Willis starts? 3 of them he sucked in Tennessee. Are you going to
3 of them? He had Matt LaFleur and a bajillion weapons. And
are you putting that much stock in those 3 starts in Green Bay and saying, well, we'll pay this guy a lot of money to save my job? I don't think you are.
You know what it sounds like? Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Well, we saw some good things here, and if we can coach him up, it's the exact same thing. You just swap the names out.
It's Fields with a smaller sample size, and you could argue higher highs, more recent. Like Arrow trending more up than Fields was, but also significantly smaller sample size.
And less arm talent, and you got to pay him more.
Yeah, which means an even bigger risk. And I don't think the Jets, specifically Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, have the luxury of taking a risk like that, which all of that continues to point back to Kyler Murray for me. And this is before the Dante Moore decision, because even if Moore was in this draft and you were planning to take him at number 2, we both agree The NFL agrees. Dante Moore was not ready to start week 1. So even if
which was weird because typically the guys you hear who aren't ready to start week, it's like Anthony Richardson, Trey, like physical guys who need to work on accuracy and playing in the pocket. Like Dante Moore's kind of the opposite like that. And then he plays like an old school pocket passer.
Yeah.
It's just doesn't have the reps.
Yes, and that was the whole point. So it's just even if you bring in Murray, even if Moore was in this class, Murray was likely starting, or you would need somebody, whoever that somebody is, to start at least half the season. Realistically. So all of that has continued to point to Kyler Murray for me. And I know that's not going to be exciting for Jets fans. And I don't know if I would say it probably doesn't work. Probably not. But if you're Aaron Glenn and you're Darren Mujian and you need to save your jobs, you need to win football games immediately in year 1, it's probably the best you're going to do, unless the Raiders shock everyone and don't take Mendoza and go a different route of quarterback, which you never know. Like, I hate speaking in definitives when we're this far out from the draft. It's January 14th at the time.
Shedeur Sanders was a number 1 overall pick candidate this time last year.
I don't know. We're all like writing in stone that the Raiders are going to take Mendoza. That's the expectation. I would assume that. But there's a reason that there's no report saying the Raiders are going to take Mendoza, because the Raiders haven't finished their quarterback evaluations. It's January 14th. We don't know. Maybe they don't like Mendoza. Maybe they're really high on Kyler Murray and they would rather him. I don't know. Hell, they don't even have a head coach. So we don't know. We don't know.
Maybe they go BPA and then Mendoza's there too. Who knows?
All we're hearing is this: the NFL's not high in this quarterback class. Maybe they just pass on quarterback altogether. And then if you're Jets, I would assume they'd take Fernando Mendoza, right? But assuming Mendoza's at 1, assuming Mendoza's gone, and the Jets have it on good authority that he's not going to be there at 2, Kyler Murray just makes the most sense to me. And then maybe you draft someone probably on day 2. That would be my. So to answer your question, back to the 2 and 16, my preferred route right now, as of the January 14th, would probably be you trade for Kyler Murray. Well, my preferred realistic route, like this is what I think the Jets should do if they're trying to save their jobs, and what they might do.
Acquire Kyler Murray via trade or release.
Right. Acquire Kyler Murray, draft somebody on day 2. Probably, I think we are in agreement here that Garrett Nussmeier is probably our preferred option of those guys. Although I think Trinidad Jameis could make sense if you're getting Kyler Murray, man. You get the all short Kings quarterback room. That could be
the
fun.
Only quarterback room that can't go on all the rides at Disney World.
That could be fun. Like, and it would be a very similar offense for both of them in theory. Nussmeier would be a little bit different.
I mean, Kyler's got like 10 times the arm talent, but yeah.
I'm against Simpson at 16 because if you take Simpson at 16 this year, you're not taking a quarterback next year. And I don't want the Jets to do anything now. Now that, like, even if Moore was in this draft, that would have been maybe the only world where I'm like, okay, maybe you take a quarterback this year and you don't worry about 2027. At this stage, I don't want the Jets to do anything as an organization that precludes them from taking a quarterback next year. That's kind of where I'm at this point. I just think for the best of the organization, that's what they should do. Anyway, let's get some of these comments, Mike.
Yes. Let's start with Zachary Berner because we got a lot. We'll kind of go top down here. Why hasn't anyone been fired yet from the coaching staff? A very slow-moving offseason.
Yeah. We'll talk about some of that later when we get to the DC stuff. It's been very slow-moving.
Zachary Berner, Ty Simpson may be the Bama quarterback to break the curse. Maybe it takes a Bama quarterback.
Maybe. Greg McElroy couldn't do it. He couldn't follow in the footsteps of
Richard Todd and Namath.
Right? Richard Todd,
he was okay.
Second best Alabama quarterback in Jets history.
Vinicius Cristello. I wasn't convinced Moore was the guy, but losing 5 straight games by 50 just to go BPA at 2.
No, I wanted to get
to this. The tank was to get the best pick. It's whoever was there at the best pick.
The Jets don't control who's in this draft.
Imagine if they won a game in that tank thing and then they picked 8.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the year that the Jets finally bottomed out and like fully aggressively tanked, there's no real prize for it. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't have done it. Like that's you can't. When they made the decision to trade away Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson on November 4th or whatever that was, they didn't know what this quarterback class would look like.
Mendoza wasn't the consensus one yet.
Mendoza was not. Ty Simpson was like a top 3 pick at that point.
Yeah.
So you can't doing that and then Dante Moore doesn't declare. Now everyone should be fired.
So what is Dante Moore's fault? Like, come on.
Right. What's the logic behind that? They don't control who's in this draft.
Jacob C, my favorite Jets channel. Can we get one thing nice? You can get this channel. That's nice.
Sometimes it's nice. You're gonna get a really good player at number 2. I think the Jets, and it's also a scenario where it's like, not only is this a year where there's no top like quarterback for them to draft at 2, I don't think there's an obvious consensus guy at 2 either. Like, there's no consensus best player in this class. You could
for a while it looked like it was Reese, but I guess people kind of backed off that.
Reese, I think, had a underwhelming like final third of the season. where he wasn't getting a ton of pass rush reps in general, and he wasn't getting a ton of pressure when he did get those reps. Now, I still love Reese, and I think he'd probably still be my favorite option at 2, but it's not as consensus as it was like 3 months ago.
It just feels like Leonard Williams, 0% chance he's bad in the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, and something good.
I think the Jets are going to get a really good player at 2, assuming they don't take a quarterback, right? Assuming they don't reach a quarterback.
I think also because of some New York proximity, I think some fans kind of saw Abdul Carter have an underwhelming year, and they're like, oh, like they're nervous about the BPA at 2.
Carter was great, man. Like, I think people just look at the sack numbers too much. Outside of the off-field stuff, which that's a whole different conversation, on the field, I thought he was a beast. Like, I thought he was a game wrecker. And as the season went on, he was even better, especially when Shane Bowen got fired, because he was a terrorist to that organization.
BD9755. Glenn isn't forced to draft Dante at 2. Build the team. And when Glenn is fired, okay, you can get another quarterback and all that. Like, can we stop dooming over situations that like haven't happened yet? Like, can we just stop assuming Aaron Glenn's going to be fired after a year? Like, all right, he might, but like, can we just not like plan our future a year and a half down the line around the thought that he is?
Look, I can't lie and say I'm not thinking about it though. You know,
I mean, but to just be like, oh, well, when that happens, then like that's the problem.
I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, Aaron Glenn's going to get fired, and thank God when he does get fired. But I am thinking of, oh, okay, they're probably going to be bad this year, Mike. Like they're not going to be a good team. I don't know. I'm not sure what the path to like 8 wins is, just because of the quarterback situation. Unless they get Kyler, and Kyler has a resurgence, or they draft somebody, whether it's Simpson or whoever on day 2, and that player is much better than you'd expect from a rookie. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you're winning 8 games, and not to mention the rest. And it's not like the rest of the roster is good. They have to hit on all of the moves that they make this offseason. The roster is bare bones. Now they have the assets to
they have the ability to do that easily.
Yeah, but it's just you got to hit on those picks, and then or you got to hit on those with those signings, and then you got to draft a quarterback or find a way to get a quarterback in, which we just ran down the options. They're not good. They're not pretty. So yeah, I think there's a very real world where you're looking at 2027 and you're saying, hey, the Jets got to hire Mike Tomlin.
Well, Tomlin already supposedly there was a report that came out that Tomlin is not interested in coaching for a couple of years. They said like he's like taking time off. So
I think he's going to be at the forefront of head coach conversations.
I think people ask him. I genuinely believe him when he says he's not interested in coaching right now.
I'm not in his head. I don't know, but I think he will be at the forefront of those conversations next year. And look, we've seen it with Sean Payton. We've seen this before. Like, I would not be shocked at all if he's coaching again next year. I don't know. I'm not in his head. I don't know what he wants.
J. Mark. So Bain at 2 and Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle from Florida.
You're fixing the D-line.
DT at 16 with the guys we have now. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but I mean, it wouldn't be awful.
I just mocked them Caden McDonald, so I can't say no to that, right? I can't say no D tackle at 16. I like Bain a lot. Like, I do think I'm still Reese over Bain at 2, but you could sell me on Bain. Like, Bain is more of an easy projection for me, where it's like, okay, this guy's clearly going to be just a beast of a 3-down defensive end who is maybe never going to be a first-team All-Pro, but he's going to be a really good player. Like, that's kind of where I'm at with Bain. Reese, it's like, okay, we got to figure out how to use him. We need the defensive staff, which right now we don't know who the hell they are. And as we're probably going to talk about in a bit, I don't think this defensive coordinator position is a very, very, I don't think it's an attractive spot for a defensive coordinator to land.
It might be in March, but not right now.
Yeah, so I have concerns a little bit about the defensive staff the Jets are going to be able to build under Glenn, which is not a good sign for Aaron Glenn, if I'm saying that. So I would like that would be the case for Bain over Reese, where it's like, man, I don't even trust this defensive staff to use him right. But I'm still Reese over Bain for now.
Well, you could say that, but it seems like if you try Reese as just a straight up pass rusher and he doesn't work, like he is this hybrid linebacker guy. It surprised anybody if Arvell Reese is just this great middle linebacker who flies around.
Yeah, but if he is that, you're not taking him at 2. Like, that's a failure if you're taking
what would it be with how bad this team needs a linebacker?
Yeah, just position value. Like that, there's a reason off-ball linebacker has been very devalued. Maybe the NFL's gone too far in that direction, but like Jahad Campbell fell to what, 28 when the Eagles took him, and he was awesome this year.
That's it. Isn't he a very Reese archetype?
In some cases, yeah. It'll mix between him and like Jalen Walker, kind of, I guess you could argue.
And Walker went a little lower than we thought, but he was a great pick for Atlanta.
Yeah, well, Walker's because he's a pass rusher for them. They just decided to use him as a strict pass rusher, and he's been great. If you get that,
the best that they drafted that year, Pierce was better.
They're both really good.
Yeah. Zachary Berner, no safety, top 10. At least you can confirm he's Ed Reed. See, the thing about that, though, is people always will look at Jamal. I get why there's Jamal Adams PTSD, which, number one, Jamal Adams made 2 All-Pros in 3 years. And number two, who was the last safety prospect that got this level of hype?
It's probably Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
I don't think the Raiders I remember when the Ravens got him at 14, it was like, how the hell did he go to 14? And now I think he's the best safety in the league. Yeah. And if you look at their on-off stats, like when he plays and when he doesn't, it's slightly above average, unplayable.
Yeah.
So if he has a Kyle Hamilton level impact, I would take him there.
I wouldn't say no safety in the top 10 unless you can confirm it. They're Ed Reed, obviously. Even if that's an exaggeration, I don't think that like Caleb Downs is going to be drafted in the top 10, and whichever team drafts
you can't get him at 16.
So. And whichever team drafts him is going to be very, very happy. My argument against it, and this hurts because Caleb Downs is awesome, dude. He's so good.
His uncle is the Jets' assistant DB coach too, Dre Bly.
That's right. I forgot you mentioned that.
Yep.
The issue is the Jets have so many needs, and with a team with this many needs at premium positions, it's just so hard to sell me on a safety at that spot.
One of them is safety, though. That's the thing.
That's not a premium position. Like, they have needs at edge rusher. They have a obvious need at quarterback. They have a need at wide receiver. They have needs up and down this roster. It's hard to sell me on a safety in the top 10. If they trade down and get him at 7 or whatever, maybe, I'd be happy because I know he'd be a great player. I would just need to see how they're addressing the premium positions, right? What are they doing at quarterback? What are they doing at edge rusher? How are they fixing the rest of this team? But Downs is awesome. He's a fantastic player.
Old Dirty Bodega. I read that as Old Dirty Bastard for a sec. Shout out to Wu-Tang Clan. I don't understand why anyone wants Ty Simpson in the first round. I'll tell you why people want Ty Simpson in the first round.
Do your Ty Simpson pitch.
Ty Simpson, he's small. He has less experience than Dante Moore as a starter. Under pressure, not great. I'll give you that. But they asked him to do a lot at the line of scrimmage, and he handles a lot. Everybody always talks about what a great processor he is. Stays in the pocket to make throws. I like downfield, especially. I think he's got really good downfield accuracy. I think he got put in a very bad position at the end of the year with how the offense was run. I think the offensive line kind of fell apart. They never could run the ball. Simpson, in the pure act of just drop back, find a guy, hit a guy, he's not that far off from Moore and Mendoza. There's other stuff you could work with. I wouldn't like to see Simpson start 17 games this year, but I think he's got accuracy, he's got a good brain, and the teammates seem to love him. And if you get those 3 things together, it's very few quarterbacks who have those 3 things seem to bust. And I think the arm talent is probably league average, maybe a little above. Mm-hmm. I think there's enough developmental room where you take him at 16. I'm really never going to, unless you pick a guy like Chambliss, which is like a 2-round overdraft, I'm really never going to get mad at somebody taking a quarterback in the first round. Because, like, I get it. You're nothing if you don't have a quarterback. Like, it's going to be really hard if they take Simpson at 16 to be like, what are they doing kind of thing. Because they need a quarterback and they think this guy's the guy. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. The other, like, thing in favor of Simpson is you could also point to, like, oh, yeah, he played his worst football down the stretch. There's a lot of stuff out there about how he was playing through a back injury. And college football is always so secretive with injuries. You never know. Like, the Garrett Nussmeier thing is also, like, he had a really disappointing year. Well, he was playing through a core muscle injury or whatever, or something debilitating. Simpson apparently had a pretty bad back injury. He also, I believe, cracked a rib. So how much of that impacted his performance and his decline over the second half of the year? I don't know. That's for the scouts to determine. That's for the people who have probably better access to the medical records than we do to determine. I'm not on board with Simpson at 16 right now for the reasons that I said. And I never love it when a guy who has an inexperienced starter played his worst football down the stretch. It's a tough sell for me, right? Because you're really just going on the first 2/3 of the season. I think was probably even the first half.
Oklahoma, he was good though.
He was really good against Oklahoma. Georgia and Indiana, he specifically struggled against a lot.
But so did Dante Moore. So Indiana,
Indiana.
That might be like one of the best teams ever. Like, we got to take that into account.
Absolutely. No, 100%. But I'm not sold on Simpson at 16 because I would rather just, against the opportunity cost, I'd rather probably just look ahead to 2027 and not invest a first-round pick in a guy who I'm really not sold on being a first-round pick. But there's an argument. Like, there's an argument for it, and I think if the Jets do draft Simpson at 16, Jets fans will convince themselves that he is the next Joe Namath.
BD9755. Kyler Murray is the Justin Fields of this year's non-quarterback draft options.
No,
he's the best non-draft quarterback option, excuse me, but he's not that great.
In that regard, I guess, but he's better than Fields. Like,
yeah. It's not even close as a
if
pass.
that's like that analogy makes sense. You're not like, yes, in terms of being the best of a bad situation, maybe, but he's better. Like the peak Kyler Murray was a borderline top 10 quarterback. It's been years since we've seen him at that level, but even the last we've seen him this year was pretty rough. But even still,
5 games too.
Yeah, 20th best quarterback in the NFL, right? Kind of what we were saying about Rodgers, like, which again, not good. And
offensive line for the Cardinals is much worse than the Jets.
100%. And also, like, again, am I
coaching staff just got fired?
Yes.
They lost, I think, 14 of their last 15 games?
Yeah, and this isn't to just diminish red flags because again, yeah, do I trust that he's gonna stay healthy for an entire season? No. He's also, pushing 30 at this point. So his body, he's taking
that old.
He's 29.
He's 28.
28.
Oh, he was born the same month I was born. Don't make me old, Justin.
Man, you're getting old. I don't know what to tell you.
No.
Gray, I think.
Oh God.
But yeah, and then there's also the attitude stuff, which that's not, again, we don't know. I don't know Kyler Murray personally. That's not for me to decide. That's for Aaron Glenn to decide. That's for people around the league to talk about and say, okay, is this someone we want leading our locker room? Because when you're bringing in a quarterback, that's what you want. So I don't know about that stuff, but I know performance-wise, I still think he's clearly their best option, even with the red flags.
Slow runner. Jets should draft the Arizona State wide receiver at 16 and Styles at 2. I think he got him switched.
Yeah.
I think he meant Tyson with the first one and then Styles at 16.
Too. Bro, I love Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles.
At 2? No.
It's crazy.
Over Arvell Reese, probably? No.
Sonny Styles getting drafted before Arvell Reese would be nuts.
That would be nuts.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, Jordan Tyson, I wouldn't take at 2, but like, I don't know if you got him at 5 or 6.
Tyson's just to be in the medicals. Like Tyson, if Tyson didn't have medical concerns, hell man, you could sell me on Tyson at 2. I realize, like, legit in this class where I don't think there's an obvious top guy, you could sell me on Tyson at 2. In a class like this, the injuries are just, I think, going to drop him a little bit. That's going to come down again to the medical evaluations, which we don't know. I also love Carnell Tate and I love Mekhi Lemon. Any of those guys, if you get any of those 3 wide receivers at 16, which there's a good chance they're all off the board by 16, but if any of those guys are still there, I want to say I'm running the card in because they're all awesome players.
Brian Sternbeck, if I could guarantee you that Ruben Bain would be Rashawn Gary, would that be worth in terms of production, not style? Would that be number 2 overall? I would say no.
Probably not, but also
Gary got picked 12th, and he's playing like a number 12 overall pick mostly.
Yeah, it took him a couple of years too. Bain is, I think, has a higher floor. Bain's going to come in, I think, and be a better pro immediately than Gary was. Gary's good. Like Gary's a really good player. I don't know.
Do the arms worry you?
Yeah, with a little bit, and it's partially why I don't know if he's going to ever be like an all-pro game wrecker. But I think he's just such a solid, sound player that I'd be shocked if he's bad.
All right, see, that's the value thing. Like, would you take, considering the value, a solid fringe Pro Bowl player, if that's what Bain's future is, or like an all-pro guy in downs, positional value-wise? Would you take Bain at Rashawn Gary level or Caleb Downs?
I'd probably take Gary, just given what the Jets need. That's not a universal truth for every team. Just given
I disagree.
Given where the Jets currently are, I probably would lean Gary over that. But I don't know. I think it's a discussion. I just think position value really matters when you're talking about picking that high in the draft. It's just, again, it's a year where I don't think there's any can't miss obvious best player in this class too. Like
I think honestly the best player in the class might be Downs. So that's the risk.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah,
it might be, but he's a safety,
All right, but like safeties aren't just like backup tight ends here. Like look how bad the Jets. Not that all of this year was because they didn't have safeties, but like
maybe
look how much difference a safety would have made.
Maybe there's a conversation where you're like, okay, Caleb Downs isn't just safety for us; he's also our nickel defender, and he's also somebody we could play in the box as a linebacker. Like if you're doing that and you have all these plans, like think of like how the Ravens just used Kyle Hamilton this year, right?
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton was playing a lot in the slot this year because they drafted Malachi Starks, and Starks was, it took him a little bit to come on, but later in the year he was really good. And that allowed them to play Kyle Hamilton a lot in the slot and use him all around that defense. If you're using him in that role, which maybe, I think you can do that with Caleb Downs, then maybe you make that argument. If you're like, okay, he's not only one of our starting safeties, but he's also our nickel defender, and he's also our third linebacker. Okay, then that ups his value, and then he's not just a safety. So yeah, maybe. I think there's a conversation to be had.
Let's go with Rob Giordano, because I'm not a fan of this argument, Rob. If there's a college quarterback who would be excited to play for any of the top 5 draft teams, like if you're in the top 5, most of the time you suck.
Do you think Fernando Mendoza's excited to play behind that Raiders offensive line?
You think if the Jets didn't take Dante Moore, he would have been excited to go to the Cardinals?
It's so funny that look, and again, I'm well aware of the Jets' history, and I'm well aware of their quarterback history. The Jets are a better landing spot for a quarterback right now than the Raiders. I don't think that should be.
And the Cardinals and the Browns.
Yeah, now that the Browns fired Stefanski.
Yeah,
I would have said
that offensive line will get somebody killed.
It's not good.
Oh God, Mendoza who can't move behind this Raiders line.
I'm very hesitant about Fernando Mendoza in Vegas. I don't think this is biased at all. In fact, I think we're biased against the Jets a lot. I think Mendoza, like the Jets are Mendoza would do better with the Jets and the Raiders. Like just in theory, right? Who the hell knows? Maybe there's a Jets curse. I don't know, bro. In theory, the Jets are a better fit for Mendoza than the Raiders are. But you're not going to hear that. It's going to be all, the Dante Moore, he's avoiding the Jets. He doesn't want to play for them. And Fernando Mendoza, he would hate the Jets. That's the talk.
Let's go. We got a couple takes from JMax99 Jet fan. Reese at 2, Peter Woods at 16. Woods value picks. I don't like using the DT that early because I really like Phillips and Briggs.
Woods is going to be so interesting to see where he goes in this draft because going into the year, top 5 pick, right? Like he was.
I still don't think he falls. I don't even think he makes it to 16. Still,
I don't know.
TJ Parker is the one who had the bigger fall off.
Well, Parker might not be a first round pick at this point.
I think he is now. Uiagalelei went back. What the hell is Dan Lanning doing at Oregon? Why did everybody go back?
Other than Kenyon Sadiq and Dylan Thieneman, is that your pronounce?
Thieneman, yeah.
That's
Emmanuel Pregnon is out of eligibility, so he had to go.
Right, but
no, Isaiah World too, so he had to go. But
Uiagalelei returned. Amari Washington returns. Dante Moore is going back.
For what?
They want to win a natty, man.
What? But that doesn't
NIL.
How do you know how much you would have made with the Jets?
Yeah,
those are two first-round picks. You could argue Thieneman went, so yeah, 2 first-round picks,
and maybe Washington. I think had a shot to go first round.
Yeah, and Uiagalelei I think definitely would have.
Yeah,
but anyway, he says Reese at 2, Woods at 16, Simpson at 33 would be great. Yes,
yeah. If Simpson's at 33, I'm very different discussion for me.
See, here's the problem though. Like if he goes 33, that feels you didn't use the first-round pick on a quarterback thing. What if they trade up to remember when the Ravens got into the first round to get the 5th year on Lamar?
Yeah.
Does that change anything? It's 1 pick extra.
You're investing more. I think it makes them more likely to keep him for another year. It'd be kind of crazy if they traded into the first round. Imagine the Giants traded up to get I guess they traded back for Dart, right? But
up because they had they went back in. Yeah,
that's right. Imagine the Giants took Dart. Dart sucked this year, and they took a quarterback.
But if they took him at 33, that wouldn't be, and he sucks and they get rid of him, then that's better somehow?
More of a conversation. But I'm not saying it's more of a conversation.
And then on top of that, he says the safety from LSU, AJ Halsey at 45.
Yeah, I like Halsey a lot. I like Halsey a lot.
Well, not the worst mock I've seen for the Jets.
No.
Jonathan Gaucher, Murray can throw the ball. Can he stay healthy, especially at MetLife? Swap 2 and 3 for Murray.
Oh, I don't even think it takes that much.
I don't think it takes that much either.
I don't know.
I think if the contract, it's bad, but the Jets at least have the financial flexibility to, more so than other quarterback needy teams, to absorb that. So
back to Simpson at 33 for a sec. Is the last time that one quarterback went in the first round? Is that the EJ Manuel draft?
Kenny Pickett.
Oh, Pickett. That's wrong. God, yeah, that year.
And they gave him 2. And that was obvious it wouldn't work, and they gave him 2 years.
Yeah, that year sucked.
That was the Malik Willis year. That was everybody thought. Remember, people thought he'd go 2.
Yes. But so I believe the last 2 times that's probably happened. Then your 2 first-round quarterbacks were EJ Manuel and Kenny Pickett. But I guess it's weird. You rarely see a situation where a quarterback goes 1 and no other quarterback is drafted at all in the first round.
Well, I remember the Winston Mariota year. They went 1-2. And then nobody went in the second round. And then the third round pick was Garrett Grayson, who never played in the NFL. So,
Saints legend.
Yep, so basically, it was just those 2 guys in the first 2 days.
Right.
That's, I guess, a point. That's similar.
It's weird. They would be kind of wild. Man, that's just the Jets' luck, bro. That we're saying, maybe only one quarterback goes in this year's class, and they're picking 2nd overall.
Zachary Berter, is there hope for 2026? If you want there to be hope, there's hope. That's on you.
Define hope.
You can be hopeful.
Hope to be better than what we saw this year? Yes. Hope for the Jets to be good? Maybe.
To be better? Yes, there's hope.
Better, yes.
Good, yeah.
Good, I don't know, man. I think you're probably looking at 2027 is when the real hope of like, okay, now we're going to see this team take a step towards like contending and maybe even make the playoffs if things go right. They probably won't. No, in the Jets, they probably won't. Like the good and the bad of this situation is that the Jets have so much ammunition.
If you take the Jets off it, you're like, this is a perfect situation for a young quarterback.
Yeah.
If you take the Jets off the helmet.
The good and the good and the bad. The good is the Jets have so many assets to just add as much talent as they can, right? Via the draft, via free agency, via trades, whatever. They have so much ammunition over the next 2 years to completely reshape this roster. The bad of it is that they really need to hit on those assets because there's very little to work with right now. There are, I think, maybe 5 guys that I feel confident will be on the roster in 2027. Like it's that grim. It's like Garrett, Olu, Membu, probably Tippmann, maybe Briggs, like
Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor probably is still there in 2027. That's about it, man. Like that's rough. That's really rough. But we're looking, okay, a year from now, how many of these guys are still going to be sticking around? I don't know. So the hope is they have all of these assets. The cope is that, or whatever the opposite of hope would be, is that, man, they really got to hit on those assets.
I expect 10 or more losses. How can we hope our way to well, the first way to hope to do that is either young quarterback who even if he doesn't save Aaron Glenn's job, like I want to get to Jacob here, like in tandem with that. I'm worried if we pick a quarterback at 16 trying to keep Glenn's job and if we end up firing him, we waste a pick. The Giants didn't waste Jackson Dart. Like the pick is still good and they have that guy. Yeah. That's part of why John Harbaugh is probably going to go there is because they have a guy already installed. Like it's if the quarterback is good, no matter who the coach is, it's not a waste of a pick.
Correct.
So the ways to hope into less than 10 losses are young quarterback, which the options are dwindling now, but there's still some there, or Kyler Murray trade, because the only veteran that is moving the needle as far as wins go is Kyler Murray. And you may not like him, but that's who you got. You can play with the cards you're dealt. That's who you got.
And Brian says AZ and Moore. I'm not confident those guys are key players for the Jets in 2027.
I think they might be, but I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't want to fall into the habit of overrating players on bad teams. Like we've done this in the past with Bless Austin, with Bryce Hall, with whoever else, where it's like, oh man, Sorry, Thomas, he showed some promise down the stretch in those limited snaps. I have no idea if he's going to be a long-term starter with this team. I really don't. That's why I think cornerback's a bigger need than I think you do going into this offseason, where I'm like, I think Stevens is fine as a number 2. I think he was a perfectly capable cornerback 2 for most of last year.
Especially with Sauce as your 1.
Yeah, well, now you don't have Sauce, obviously.
I'm saying that helped on top of,
That did help.
Yeah.
Azaria Thomas could be a starter. I don't think he should be guaranteed a starting job unless the team is very high on him. I don't think he showed nearly enough last year in the limited snaps he was given to be a locked-in starter. And Malachi Moore, I think, is a starter next year going into 2026. I'm more confident Moore is a day 1 starter than Thomas, because at least Moore started a good chunk of the year and I thought was at least starting caliber.
He's an NFL player.
Yeah. He's an NFL player. And Thomas is an NFL player too. I just don't know if they're starters long term. I think Moore will be a starter next year for sure. Thomas.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, the actor.
Mason Taylor too. But
yeah.
I think AZ Thomas is at least competing for a starting job next year. And there's a good chance he is a week 1 starter. But I'm not sure he's a starter in 2027. And I'm certainly not confident Malachi Moore is either. Even if I'm like probably trending up right now. Still to be determined. There's just not a lot of guys who are locked into starting jobs who we know are above average NFL starters. There are maybe 5 of those guys. There's legitimately, I think, 5 on this Jets roster right now. If Brees, I don't know, depending on if he's back, but be Garrett, Olu, Membu. I think Tippmann's an above average starter, and Jawan Briggs. And Briggs is a guy who just claimed off waivers, you traded for right before the season started. So it's like, man. And other than that, Harrison Phillips is solid player. God knows what's going on with Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald. They'll be back. I don't think Sherwood's back in 2027. Maybe Stevens is. Mason Taylor, maybe. Maybe he's a starter in 2027. I don't know. It's tough, man. Bare bones.
Brian Sternbeck, Kirk Cousins, Mason Rudolph, Trinidad Chambliss quarterback room gets the regime fired before or after the deadline.
I had a visceral reaction to reading that.
What was it? Maybe 3 games in? I don't know.
Holy shit. Also, just hilarious if you go Kirk Cousins and Mason Rudolph as your vets, and you're like, yeah, let's bring in Trinidad James.
Talk about a correction of like we want a running quarterback in field.
Right.
Talk about an overcorrection the other way.
Well, that's like the
Can you find two quarterbacks with a more different playing style right now than Kirk Cousins and Justin Fields?
And Shameless being the third guy. It's like when the Ravens signed what's his name?
Cooper Rush
to be their backup. It's like, what are you even thinking, bro? Like who thought this was a good idea? How did that work?
J Mark Bain at 2. If Lemon is not available at 16, Caleb Banks.
Okay.
I will say before we get to that, I think Caleb Banks is a really good player.
Yeah.
I think he's a first-round talent. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
And I think DT is not the spot at 16.
If they're going DT at 16, Caden McDonald will be my pick over Banks.
Yeah. Boston or McDonald at 33.
Caden McDonald, I would be shocked if he's at 33.
Yeah, I don't think he's there. Yeah, but it would be good. That's like an Azaria Thomas crazy value pick that I wouldn't hate.
It's early. I don't want to be definitive, but I'd be surprised right now if he was at 33.
Or Boston would be great at 33.
Yeah, I also don't think Boston's at 33.
Yeah. 44 for a safety. Okay. And then like Thieneman maybe?
Sweet spot for it, yeah.
And then trade up in the third round to get Chambliss. So I'd imagine in this situation, you're spending most of your money in the offseason at linebacker and maybe you get another edge to go with Bain.
I'm just fascinated to see where these quarterbacks end up going now.
Jets fans got it. All right, here's the thing. Jets fans, as Austrian Jet fan, donates 10 memberships because
somebody before asked for one nice thing. That nice thing is awesome.
That's a nice thing. Austrian Jet fan is the nicest of things. So
absolutely.
Dante Moore gets ripped up and down for not playing well against Indiana. Didn't Trinidad Chambliss have like 5 picks dropped against Miami? Like if they caught those picks, is Chambliss even picked in the first 3 rounds?
I want to see how many. What did PFF give him with turnover-worthy plays in that game? Miami only 3. 3 turnovers.
That's impossible. Yeah, I saw 5 with my own eyes.
Okay, man,
there had to be.
Take it up with PFF. I don't know. He played really well against Georgia, though. Like that's the one where it's like, okay, Simpson struggled against Georgia when he played him. Again, maybe dealing with the back injury, whatever, right? Chambliss was awesome against Georgia. Was fantastic in that game.
Well, yeah, but there were also games where Chambliss was worse against teams that Simpson was better against.
So. I think Chambliss as a whole had a better season than Ty Simpson. The issue is projecting to the NFL.
Do people just not care he was a Division II quarterback for most of his career?
I don't even care. I don't care as much about that. I just care about, lack of size is a big concern with him. He's generously listed at 6 foot 200 pounds.
He is 5'10" if he's an inch.
I think of any of the quarterbacks in this class, even including Garrett Nussmeier. Like I think Chambliss, the pre-draft process is most important for Chambliss because if he measures in at the combine at like 5'10",
he's done.
He's not sniffing the first, honestly, maybe even 2 days. Like he might go 4th round. But and I hate to put it all
5'10" older quarterback without a great arm.
I hate to put it all in measurements, but if he's 6 foot 208 pounds, you could live with that. It's not ideal, but you could live with that. I think. Look, if he nails the pre-draft process, I think there's a world where he goes round 1, just given the scarcity of quarterbacks in this class. I know you hate that, Mike. I'm just saying there's a world where that happens.
Whoa, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a once-in-a-generation pick top 10 in 2 leagues athlete. Chambliss is not.
Murray's a better athlete and has a better arm than Chambliss.
A way better. Not even close better arm.
Correct. Well, there's a reason Murray went 1, and Chambliss isn't going to
go. There's that, and then getting back on the. All right, so Chambliss in the 3rd round. Like of the quarterbacks here, like it's Nussmeier, Beck, Chambliss, firmly in that order for me right now. Might change.
Okay.
Now it's.
What about Aller or Chambliss?
Aller, if he didn't get hurt, I think he would probably be a little bit below Simpson for me.
Whoa. Okay.
If he didn't get hurt.
He'd be your QB3 in this class.
I think he'd be 3 right there with Simpson.
Now factoring in the injury.
But he got hurt and he was worse this year. So
yes. Took a big step back.
And it's not like, dealing with a nagging thing. I think he broke his leg or he tore his ACL or something.
I think it was an ACL. It was a brutal leg injury.
Yeah, it's not good. So you may not even get him for most of this year anyway because he's going to be recovering for that. So
right. Medicals are going to be really important there.
We're going to be really important. So Beck is just one of those I don't see a superstar trait with Carson Beck, but I just see he's pretty good at everything.
Yeah.
There's so much he's okay to pretty decent at. And again, like if people want to see success in college, 37-5 as a starter in college. I think he's very accurate. I think he gets the ball out quick. I know he turns the ball over, but I'm willing to see my quarterback at least have the testicular fortitude to make some of these throws as opposed to just check down Charlie all day. And Beck, I think, has that.
My biggest concern still with Beck is he's under pressure.
Like well, that's Simpson too, and more.
I think Beck's even worse though. Beck, and he was worse last year. I think he got a little bit better.
He did get better this year. Yeah,
debilitatingly bad under pressure at Georgia, like to a point where I'm like, I can't even picture this guy in an NFL, like on an NFL roster. Not on an NFL roster.
People forget too. Playing as a look at all the preseason mocks last year, he was like 1-1. That's how he was thought of. So
yeah, I'm curious. What was because this year? So last year under pressure, he had a 33.6 PFF grade, 11 turnover-worthy plays, 5 big-time throws, 17 sacks each. So his pressure to sack percentage 16%, which it's not good, but it could be a lot worse. This year he was up to 43.7 PFF grade, still not good under pressure.
Is that the PFF grade when he's pressured or like
when he's under pressure?
No, I'm saying like, do they grade it on a curve? Like, is that 43.7?
No, it's not on a curve.
Regular grade, or is that
no, it's not on a curve. So you'd expect it to be worse. Like,
okay, so nobody has like 100 on a 90 under pressure or anything.
No, it's always going to be worse when you're under pressure. You would assume.
Okay, all right.
You would assume. But when blitzed, two big time throws, 6 turnover worthy plays. Under pressure, 5 big time throws, 6 turnover-worthy plays. So better than last year.
Better, yeah.
Still bad. Like, I'd be curious. I'm actually really curious.
Good thing he's going to a halfway decent offensive line.
Not that PFF is everything here. We're obviously not grading prospects by looking at PFF grades. But Simpson under pressure this year, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, but a 47% or 47.6 PFF grade. Only 1 interception, but 12 turnover-worthy plays. Sure, he had a bunch of fumbles, I imagine.
What was can you get more in Mendoza?
Yeah, let's check. Mendoza is gonna be the best for sure. Dante Moore.
He's never under pressure, so he has like 1 throw.
Dante Moore, 47.2 PFF grade under pressure. So again, none of these are good. An issue with him again was fumbles, which we knew that. Especially we saw that against Indiana. Yeah. Fernando Mendoza, there you go, 72.3 under pressure. In fact, 90.2 PFF grade when blitzed. Fernando Mendoza this season, according to PFF, 25 touchdowns and 3 interceptions when blitzed. Whew!
Why do they keep blitzing him then? That's what I wonder.
Whew. That's an NFL quarterback right there. The others. It's all an issue. It's an issue for all of them, as we saw. Actually, did I check? I didn't check Shameless today.
It's gonna be really good or really bad.
Trinidad Shameless. Ooh, it's really good, buddy. He doesn't have as many attempts under pressure. He wasn't pressured as much, according to this, but 76.1 PFF grade under pressure.
Well, I buy that because he's the most mobile of them.
You want to hear this, buddy?
Yeah.
When blitzed, 86.3 PFF grade, 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Not bad.
Blitz. Like I said, I think Trinidad Shameless was a better quarterback than Ty Simpson this year. I don't know if I'd say better quarterback. Maybe I'd say better quarterback than Dante Moore. The issue is projecting to the NFL level. Chambers was awesome this year, dude. The issue is projecting to the NFL. And just because you're the best quarterback in a college setting doesn't mean you're going to be the best quarterback in the NFL. But Chambers was awesome this year.
Especially, too. I know Dart kind of minimized this, but, like, there's still the, like, Ole Miss fluky offense concerns that I have. I know Dart was able to mitigate that because he came in and looked okay because he was running a lot more. But, like, Of the quarterbacks that like were more pro ready, like in terms of the offense that they're running, dare I say, I think probably Nussmeier would be. That's probably the closest to a pro offense.
I agree with that. LSU just had so many issues this year.
I'd probably put Bama and Miami close. Indiana does not run a very pro offense, despite all the success.
No, they don't. Well, that's the interesting thing here is, again, when we're talking about like Mendoza versus Simpson or whatever, like, it's so weird to say about an Alabama quarterback versus an Indiana quarterback, but Mendoza had a lot of help, and Simpson had nothing. Like
Ole Miss, especially like Ole Miss's offense. What they asked, some people have seen that quarterback camp clip with Dart going viral. Like,
yeah,
that's what they asked him to do, and he's going to be 24 and hurt a lot, and he's begging to not be in the pros. Like, it's A lot of things that I don't love about.
So all right. So then, are you even including the injury for Dante, or say not Dante Moore? Say the
Aller.
medicals check out with Drew Aller, right? Say it's like, okay, it's not something that's going to affect him long term, but he might miss some of his rookie year, or at least like start the year on PUP or so, or and I guess he'd be NFI. Do you have him ahead of Chambliss? Like in your mind?
No, but it's close.
Okay.
Aller's got a way bigger, way better arm.
Oh, they're vastly different quarterbacks.
Yeah. And the thing though is like, it's kind of a. Here's the $64,000 question: is an injury like an ACL worse or an Achilles worse for a mobile quarterback or a non-mobile quarterback? Because as a mobile quarterback, you lose some of the juice.
Yeah.
But generally, you could still move around a little bit. If you're like Kirk Cousins, the other one, if you're a non-mobile quarterback, you get an injury like this, then it's like you can't move at all.
Well, you would hope that Aller's young enough that he's going to be able to bounce back from it. Obviously, that's not true across the board. We saw with Jordan Travis. I do think the Travis one was
Jordan Travis's leg just exploded.
That was a particularly gruesome injury. Yeah. And Travis also didn't have the physical tools that Aller does to kind of lean on. Like Aller is a very physically gifted quarterback. Dare I say the most physically gifted quarterback in this class, all things considered. But
Drew Aller reminds me a lot of when Tanner McKee was at Stanford.
Hey, there's a lot of, that's another option, man. Trade for Tanner McKee.
Didn't he suck in the one game he played this year?
I forget. Preseason.
I think he did.
Preseason legend Tanner McKee, though.
Yeah. 21 of 40, 241, a touchdown to pick against the nothing to play for tanking Commanders. So,
I mean, that's not bad.
It is.
It's not awful. It's not.
It's not good.
It's not an awful.
The Jets have warped your expectations of. If Justin Fields did that, we're like, all right, that's Justin Fields, but we have to.
If Justin Fields did that, I'm throwing a party. If Brady Cook did that, I'm doing cartwheels in the street.
You want to talk some DC stuff really quick?
Yeah, let's talk coaching stuff real quick because we said we would talk about at the top of the show. A couple people asked about what's going on with the Jets coaching situation right now. They have not made any firings at the time of recording. There are changes expected. I know the witch hunt has been out for Charles London, the quarterback's coach. Whether fair or not, I do think he's likely going to
Go look at the Patriots quarterback coach.
Yeah.
Go look at his resume. He's 29 and he was a wide receiver a couple years ago.
I think London is on paper a qualified coach. It's just, man, the quarterback room was stinky, right?
But that's just the quarterback. It's not Charles London's fault Brady Cook sucks.
Well, Justin Fields played the worst football of his career.
Well, yeah, but it's not but Brady Cook specifically.
No, I'm not. Look, we're not in the coaching. We're not in these coaching rooms. I don't know what influence Charles London had on.
Real quick, Drew Aller has high potential. Needs to stop gunslinging. I would argue the exact opposite. Needs to gunsling more.
Yeah, it's a little.
He's way too safe with that big arm.
It's a little Herberty, Justin Herberty. Like it's kind of.
Yeah, and then eventually they realize, he's like, I can throw the ball 40 yards. I should do that. But so the DC news, they've really only two candidates are in the mix. One, they've requested an interview for Dante Jones, who's the defensive backs coach for the Minnesota Vikings. And one who hasn't been requested to be interviewed yet, but it seems like he's going to get an interview and he's going to be a big part of the process, and that's Wink Martindale.
Yeah.
If these are the two finalists, and obviously there's going to be more names they interview, but if these are the two, and you had to ask me to pick one, I am so firmly on Dante Jones over Wink Martindale.
I think I might be with you, Mike. Like, it's also, I'll say this. If these are the only two finalists, very underwhelming.
Very underwhelming.
Very underwhelming.
I will say, though, Dante Jones is a very good candidate. I think there's a chance if Brian Flores becomes a head coach that he takes Jones with him to wherever he goes. I think that's a good sign.
I also think if Flores becomes a head coach, that Jones might just be the DC in Minnesota.
Or he could replace – and I think both of those jobs might be better than the Jets. But that's certainly a guy
Yeah.
People will point to the passing stats this year. I just think there was a lack of talent in that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did the best at what he had. People will point to his LSU stint where he went there after the Burrow year and he was 6-7 and got fired, but also Derek Stingley got hurt and a bunch of other guys that were supposed to be there weren't there. Like, they were kind of a mess too after the Burrow year with Ed Orgeron. Like, I don't really hold that against him. I think he's probably learned a couple things in 4 years.
Coach, he's not coached anywhere since then, right?
No, he hasn't. No,
he's gone. That's what I thought.
He's gone. So, Jones is the kind of guy. Like, look at Glenn's three hires: young, relatively unproven Chris Banjo, aces.
Yeah.
Young, unproven assistant, been around successful guys. Tanner Engstrand, I think more good than bad, trending towards hit. And then experienced veteran, past experience trying to get back in the league, aggressive blitz heavy guy. Steve Wilks, horrendous F- failure. Wink would be, I don't want to say he'd be Steve Wilks again. I think he'd be a better hire than Steve Wilks, but he'd be of the Steve Wilks mindset. People keep pointing to these Giants. Do people forget those weren't great defenses?
No.
They were fun defenses. They would blitz a lot. He was an angry guy who'd yell a lot, but you go look at the numbers. They were average to slightly below average. They were like in the middle of the league in a lot of stats. EPA, they were in the high 20s. Like he's a decent coordinator, but the Giants weren't great. The Ravens got immediately so much better after he left because they promoted Mike McDonald. Look how well that worked out for them. And at Michigan, already he's good at Michigan, but you know what? Matt Patricia allowed 9 points a game this year to Ohio State. You want to hire Matt Patricia as your DC? I don't think you want. College is becoming almost a completely even though they're trying to make it very NFL-y, schematic coaching wise, completely different sport that you're playing. So if that's the two, then I would much rather prefer Durante Jones. I think there's a vision where Durante Jones can make this defense, I think, respectable next year. I think Wink will improve it, certainly, and the talent will certainly be improved. But as Brian Sternbeck says, too, hiring Wink would make me think no one else wants the Jets DC job. That it would just seem like
how I feel too.
Going back, it would seem like a safer hire, but I think Jones is the one, and he's not even some wonderkin right now. But I mean, everything in his coaching career suggests he is deserving of a defensive coordinator job in 2026. I'd be fine with that if he's the Jets. It's tough to project assistants. Who the hell knew what Tanner Engster was doing in Detroit? But I'd be pretty happy with that hire. Wink, I would be mixed to I kind of don't want to do it. Not awful, but there's probably better options out there.
Yeah, from what I know, Brian Flores swears by Durante Jones. Like that's his right-hand man. That is who they have been kind of grooming to take over for Flores, assuming that Flores gets another head coach job. I believe Minnesota really wants him to be the DC there. I think that'd be more likely than him following Flores to his next destination, but both of them are probably on the table. And like I said, like you said, Mike, I think both of those are probably more appealing options than the Jets DC job right now. It's just not an attractive job, man. It's not. Like you have a kind of a lame duck coach where we talked about this whole stream that Aaron Glenn needs to win games next year or else he's fired. See, you have that, right? You don't have much job security. You're also likely not going to have a significant say in roster personnel. And you also have a defensive minded head coach who's probably going to influence the way that he wants to run his scheme. So you don't really have a ton of like freedom necessarily to be like, all right, this is my domain. This is my team. Here are the guys I want to bring in. You don't really have that option.
I do think Durante Jones, though, if we're going to go with what Minnesota does, like, look at what Glenn did in Detroit when they were good, like the last 2 years when they were good defenses. Yeah. Like,
no, it's similar.
It's similar. I think that's probably what, like, and Aaron Glenn even said, like, you know, I forget the exact word he used, but basically kind of linking up and being simpatico with all the coaches. That's a big thing in hiring. So I think if Durante Jones wants to run something insanely different, I don't think that Glenn is going to make him the hire, which is fair.
Well, that's why for months I've been like, you know, like when we were initially talking about replacements, I tried to look at defenses that ran, you know, a lot of man, that did a lot of similar things to what Glenn was doing or what the Jets tried to do this year and the personnel that they brought in, because they're just not going to have enough time to, like, you can't, if they bring in another like zone heavy coach and they're like, okay, now we want to run a different scheme, like a lot more zone heavy, like kind of similar to Saleh. Well, man, you just drafted Azaria Thomas. You just brought in Jarvis Brownlee. You made these personnel decisions that they don't really fit now what you want to do. So I don't think you have the luxury of having 2 years to build that defense up to your vision. So you're going to have to work with what you have. That makes it even less attractive. But I do think you're right. They would probably bring in someone like a Jerome Jones or whoever, like names that I'd mentioned in the past, Christian Parker in Philadelphia. Al Harris. Everyone loves Al Harris, the Chicago Bears passing game coordinator, defensive backs coach. I just don't think they're going to be interested in this Jets job. I really don't. Maybe Glenn can go over to his old buddies in Detroit. Deshae Townsend's there. He's their passing game coordinator. Maybe that's somebody they bring in. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a super appealing job for a lot of people, for a lot of candidates, which, you know, that's why I think Wink does make a lot of sense for the Jets, even if it's not someone that I'd love. Wink Martindale is out of a job right now. He was not retained by Michigan after the whole Sharon Moore situation, and he was let go. And I'm sure he wants to get back to the NFL. I'm sure he doesn't love coaching in college. He doesn't strike me as somebody who would love all the NIL shit and the changes in college football. I'm sure he wants
give me players. I am a football coach. I am
Yes.
not a recruiter guy.
I'm sure he wants to coach at the NFL level again. And the Jets kind of feel like a perfect marriage for him, where he can go there, get another opportunity. Because genuinely, I'll ask this: what other team is hiring Wink Martindale as their DC in 2026?
None.
I don't know if there's
what was the biggest problem other than the lack of but schematically, what was the big problem with the Jets last year?
You're going to say they blitzed a lot and
blitzed a lot and didn't get home. Yes. Wink blitzed. It was the same sort of thing the last year with the Giants, where I think he blitzed the most in the league, and they were like in the high 20s in pressure rate. Yep. Like that's not great either.
If you're getting Wink, you better have a real good plan for the pass rush situation for your edge rushers, and
you're gonna get Reese and 2 free agents, or Bain and 2. Like it's got to be that. You need like a ton of guys.
That's gonna be your identity if you're getting Wink.
Honestly, Quincy Williams would be a good fit for Wink Martindale, but like he's never coming back.
Low-key, he would more than Sherwood.
But obviously he's not coming back. So
Wink loves guys who play with their head on fire, and that's Quincy Williams to a T. I do think like a Malachi Moore would be fun in Wink Martindale's system.
He'd like him.
He'd be fun. He would like Malachi Moore a lot.
But also, pretty much every guy though that could work in Wink Martindale's system, if Tanner Rangstrom basically just took parts of Ben Johnson's offense and said, "I'm going to run this with the Jets." If Durante Jones does that with Brian Flores, like there's a lot of guys who fit well with Wink that would fit well with Flores Jones.
Yes.
So it's like why consider the older, less upside guy?
Because they might not have a choice, my friend. Because they might not have.
Well, I mean, they're not going to interview 2 people. They're going to,
No, they're going to interview other people too, and that's why I'm really curious because we're sitting here now. We know 2 candidates. We're speculating on other names.
Why they requested that one interview a week ago and then never did anything? It's like you'd think you'd either do them all at once or
Maybe it's just the leaks haven't come out. Maybe there's just that because that's what was reported. The Jets haven't said anything.
I think maybe part of it too is I heard this somewhere. I don't know if it's true or not, but there's kind of like some teams are abiding by an unwritten rule of like not interviewing the coaches on teams in the playoffs.
That was going to be my thought as well.
That's why Clint Kubiak hasn't interviewed for all the jobs yet.
I think he's gotten requests. I don't know if he's
interviewed for some, but that was because they had the week off, like everybody else.
Well,
Joe Brady hasn't interviewed for anything.
Chris Shula,
yep, LaFleur.
So I would be curious on those staffs, but some of the guys we mentioned, like Christian Parker, I believe he's interviewing with the Cowboys for their DC job. Al Harris, I haven't seen yet because he's in the playoffs, so that might be a case of that. But again,
Jim Leonard too.
I would be stunned. Jim Leonard, I would be stunned and ecstatic, but stunned if the Jets hired Al Harris or Jim Leonard. Like they're going to have so many better options than coming to this Jets team.
We even talked about this on the last stream. I think Steve Klinkscale is very much, if Jesse Minter gets like the Ravens job, I think he's their DC.
There, yeah. And then like who else did I mention? Deshae Townsend. Detroit didn't make the playoffs. So that's another option. It's like I don't think it's a playoff.
Like if Aaron Glenn offered him that job, he'd jump at it immediately.
Probably. Maybe he just doesn't like him. I don't know.
We
don't know him as a coach. But yeah, man, it's an uninspiring start to the defensive coordinator search. It's too early to like fully be like the sky is falling with it because we don't know many candidates. But yeah, it'd be uninspiring. Like it'd be uninspiring if they brought in Wink. I think there's a world where it could work. But it's just
there's worse options out there than Wink.
There are worse options. It's just Steve Wilkes.
What would you think about if they hired Jonathan Gannon?
I would like it more than Wink. It's not. He wouldn't like. I think I'd rather Raheem Morris if they go that route. Although Morris, I would be shocked if Morris gets a head coach job. But he is interviewing. Gannon, I think, is interviewing with the Titans because the Titans are interviewing anybody with a pulse.
They have 19 interviews.
19, insane. Bobby Slowick.
That's more than the Jets had, and that we were making fun of them for.
Yes. How do you even have time to fit in 19?
They interviewed Joe Witt, the Jets did last year.
Right. And Rex Ryan. But yeah,
I think because they, I guess, got all their homework done early because they fired Callahan so early.
I wouldn't be opposed to Gannon because we've seen Gannon coach a defense at a really high level before and do a really good job with it. I would prefer Morris, I think, but no, I think you could do a lot worse than Gannon. And I
almost like Nick Rawlis more than Gannon.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess Rawls probably not staying in Arizona because
younger guy, higher upside.
Oh yeah. As a general statement, I would prefer a younger, maybe
he went young with Engstrom and it worked.
Some cases first time DC. Obviously in Rawls's case wouldn't be a first time DC, but a younger defensive coordinator doesn't have
And I don't think the problem with the Cardinals was their defense last year.
No, it wasn't.
In fact, hand up, talk about the worst prediction of the year. I thought they'd win 11 games in the division.
They also had so many injuries.
They got crazy injured. The O-line fell apart. Kyler got hurt. Like, everything went wrong.
Yeah. You didn't even get to see Walter Nolan much this year.
Yeah, and he was good when he did, so that leads me to believe they can identify talent decently well on that side. Will Johnson was good,
Yeah. No, I wouldn't be opposed to Gannon. I'd like it more than Martindale. It feels like we're heading towards a Wink Martindale hire, though, doesn't it? It just feels like that right now. Because not only the reporting, but also just kind of a perfect marriage where it's like Martindale needs the Jets. The Jets want somebody who is a proven defensive mind.
He's not even. That's the thing.
I mean, he is. He's just a little archaic now. Like, would be the best way to describe it. I think he's a little outdated.
He's 62, by the way.
Yeah, he is. But he was really good with Baltimore. He was great. Like, I'm not trying to undersell how great Martindale was with the Ravens, but it'd be uninspiring for sure.
I like on the Wikipedia page, by the way, in 2023, the Giants ranked 27th in total defense, which is that's the last NFL job he ever went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Despite their struggles, they were ranked 9th in third down defense. Oh, well, that fixes everything.
Who wrote that? Mrs. Martindale?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you ever read a Wikipedia page and it's very obvious that, like, either the person there or somebody close to them clearly wrote the Wikipedia. I remember with Matt Nagy for a while, when he was arrived at the Bears, he had, like, a coaching style, and it was like a college dissertation of, like, all these quotes and plays, and every game got analyzed. I'm like, okay, Matt Nagy wrote this, or Matt Nagy's wife wrote this.
Yeah.
He's going to be a head coach soon, which is crazy.
He might be. One last comment before we wrap it up. There's negative comments ended on, but I want to get your thoughts.
Of course. Is there any other way?
Brian, he apologized for being negative today. You're good, Brian. It's a tough time right now. He said, listen to Art Rooney's press conference today made me feel like we're much, much further away from a team that fans can be proud of that Glenn claimed he wanted. What are your thoughts on that? How far away are we from this Jets team being a team that fans can be proud of?
See, here's the thing. Even if the Jets if they win 7 games next year, going from 3 to 7 and show some sort of signs of life at quarterback, either they draft a guy and he looks halfway decent, or Kyler Murray comes in and does his thing and they win 7 or 8 games. This fan base is at a point now where, again, that's going to be another losing season, another year to the playoff drought. Like, they're not going to be happy with that. So they're not going to be proud of this team, I don't think, next year. Now, honestly, like right now, there's not a lot tangibly on the roster that can lead me to say, they're going to turn up. But you know what? There was not a lot that I would say that about for maybe New England a couple years ago, or Jacksonville, or Chicago. Sometimes you need the right quarterback and the right coach, and sometimes you have one, sometimes you have neither, and hopefully you get both. And I think the Jets, we don't know if they have one. I'm leaning towards they don't have one of them. But who knows, because he got dealt the worst hand imaginable roster-wise last year. I know for sure they don't have the other one, but there's chances to reload this year. So I hope's not a lot to go on, but the other option is to just say, well, nothing will ever work out, and they're always going to be bad because they're the Jets. And why is that fun?
It's not.
Why do people watch football like that?
That's the easy outcome.
If the Jets are always going to be terrible and everything fails, either then don't complain or don't watch.
You know why people do that, Mike? Because hope is scary. Hope is dangerous. Hope is very dangerous. You're putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable. People don't like being vulnerable. They would rather reside in the comfort that is negativity. Reside in the comfort that is.
Is this comfortable what we've been doing the last couple?
It's comfortable for people to think, okay, the Jets are always going to be bad, so I have no reason to be invested. I have no reason to have hope. And I can just continue to vent because they're terrible. People like that. That's comfortable for some people. I'm not saying that's my mindset, but that's probably why they're thinking. They're protecting their mental. They're protecting their psyche.
Couple more comments. Let's end with some positive. Mustard Overlord. Is there an argument the team reaction to Dante Moore going back is to fire Glenn? No, they should not fire Glenn because Dante Moore went back.
No, like, are the Jets going to respond to that by firing Glenn? No,
they shouldn't, and nor should they. So what? Dante Moore held Aaron Glenn's job security?
Once again, the Jets can't control who's in this draft. Once the Jets traded away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams and basically actively as an organization decided to tank, they pretty much decided then they were going to keep Aaron Glenn. Didn't matter what happened after that. We'll see if that's the right decision or not, but Yeah.
Well, because he follows up. I feel like taking Moore was the best way for Glenn and Muji to be short-sighted while also doing something kind of smart. Now I'm worried any desperation move will be awful. That's the thing is you don't have to bill any quarterback move that they do will be billed as a desperation move, but you don't have to. You don't have to think of it as a desperation move.
I would say you're right to be worried because I think this is a very obvious example of the best interest of the organization are not aligned with the best interest of the people making the decisions, which is a very dangerous position to be in as an NFL organization because, as we've seen in the past, that could lead to short-sighted, short-term moves that set the franchise back a little bit because they're trying to save their jobs in the short term and not really as concerned about the long term. Now, I think there's going to be a balance. I don't think the Jets are just going to go all out trying to win this year. I think they realize they can't do that. But yeah, maybe they do make a quarterback decision that they maybe shouldn't, right? Like it does feel like they're going to have to do something at quarterback, right? Like they got to do something to bring in somebody that can get them some.
Well, they had to do something anyway, so
I don't think the Moore thing is like super like changes that a lot, but I think it's fair to be a little concerned that they might panic move, make some decision at quarterback that isn't necessarily what they would do if they knew they had 2 or 3 years left on their job.
Well, plus if you fired Glenn and then there's still no more, and then you get a new guy in here, unless you get Kyler, there's going to be it's going to be a bad team again. And if that happened, I better not have heard, well, he doesn't have anything to work with because you did not give Aaron Glenn that same leeway. Mm-hmm. You would have to treat both of them equally. Like if they brought in a new coach and he sucked year one, you can either do what I would say. I'd defend both of them and say they don't have the guys to win games. You can't rip Glenn for that because that was a horrible team. We could debate Aaron Glenn's merits as a coach. Like nobody was winning a ton of games with that roster. I don't care how good you are. And then not give the new guy the same leeway. See, that's the problem I would have with that.
A couple things here from Brian. He said Woody can spend up to the salary floor, cut off any other funds for Muji to use until the preseason, and let the minimum wage roster run its course.
Yeah, and then people would complain that they're 0-17.
Woody will have to spend money this offseason since they didn't last offseason, but he could do what the Texans did when they tanked with Lovie Smith and only signed 1-year contracts en masse. Woody could sabotage the current regime. You're right. Like that's what that would be.
But who does that help?
I mean, well, one could argue that it's best for the organization if they do that. I don't agree with that. One, and
so 3 years in a row of primarily tanking?
And I also don't think that that's a realistic thing that they would ever consider like, oh, let's just actually not spend anything this year. Let's fully tank again next year and then get our quarterback next year.
And then fire the GM anyway.
Yeah, because then what the hell's the point of Darren Muji? Like, and then you're also running into a situation now where it's like, well, who do you hire next? Because after 1 year that sucked, right? This year sucked. You had the owners step in and prevent the GM from signing players. That's crazy. Like that, I don't know. You're probably being facetious a little bit, I'm sure. But no, obviously you can't do that because that's, again, just Woody Johnson coming in, overstepping after 1 year that went poorly, sabotaging the current regime, and then being like, all right, who wants this job? What?
Why aren't we getting the best candidates?
You're not going to get any candidates. Wink Martindale's going to be your head coach.
Oh, God.
Like Mike Tannenbaum.
That's what happened with the Texans. That's why they hired David Culley and Lovie Smith.
Mike Tannenbaum.
And then got insane God-level luck with Ryans and Stroud because Ryans, like Aaron Glenn, Ryans played there and wanted to fix the Texans.
Brother, if you do that, Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman are co-GM. Like, who are you hiring?
Yeah. Honestly, Rick Spielman wouldn't be a horrible GM, for being honest.
Sure.
It wasn't bad in Minnesota.
Oh, I know, but are we there? Have we reached that point?
No, I'm not there anyway. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
One last more positive thing.
Okay.
Brian Sternbeck, Wink is not far off from Wilkes, alphabetically or fundamentally.
Yeah.
I just don't get how you look at Steve Wilkes and say he had the right idea, but we were 80% there and we need a new guy. I don't know how you say that. You need new blood because Engstrand and Banjo are relative new bloods, and they both, for the most part, worked.
I know. Just what new blood's going to want to come here? That's the problem.
Somebody will. There's enough new bloods who are qualified.
Chris Harris, full-time, DC. There you go. That's your young blood.
Oh, boy.
That's your young blood.
That's my young blood. So that is, we're going to call time on the Jet Press podcast. Dante Moore will not be a New York Jet this year. He may next year. We don't know, but
probably not.
Probably not, but you never know.
Yep.
at least for this year, he is going back. So the Jets quarterback options are smaller and smaller.
Yep.
So we'll see what they end up doing. We have a couple more months until they make that decision. Until then, it is going to be absolute agony.
We got a lot of discourse, a lot of quarterback discourse. Isn't
a lot of quarterback quarterback discourse.
Fun, Mike? Isn't this the favorite thing? Is your favorite thing of what we do?
Quarterback coaching discourse, firings, hirings.
Can we have one off season where it's the conversation? It's like, ooh, what way can they improve their third wide receiver spot? Like, how can
who are trade targets that we could put for our slot receiver?
Imagine the luxury. Yeah, imagine the luxury of being like, we need to improve our nickel spot a little bit. Like, let's look at ways we could do that, as opposed to every year quarterback head coach discourse.
Also, on the firing Glenn thing, there would be 10 head coach vacancies. The Jets are getting the 10th best candidate in a cycle.
Yeah, they're obviously not firing Glenn.
Yeah, I feel bad. Somebody's going to hire the 9th best candidate in this cycle. There are 9 openings.
Someone's going to hire Matt Nagy,
Vance Joseph.
Someone's going to hire Vance Joseph. Yeah. Someone's going to hire someone like that. Someone's going to bring back.
There's always one like out of the box weird hire every cycle.
Who's that? Oh, what's I'm forgetting his name. The guy the Steelers just interviewed. The first one.
Nate Scheelhaas?
Yeah, it's Nate Scheelhaas. That would be pretty wild. That'd be
Zach Taylor again.
Yeah.
Zach Taylor, modicum of success, I'd say. So.
The only employed head coach in AFC North,
and he got to a Super Bowl. And he almost won it. Really
quick, wait, who do you think the Steelers are going to hire? Really quick, if you had to guess.
I would say I think it's Flores.
Ooh.
I think he goes there or the Raiders, and I think whoever doesn't go there gets Jesse Minter.
I think Minter is in the mix. I think Minter makes a lot of sense for me if they want like a young, because a lot of the last few coaches they've hired are all like young. Obviously, it's been forever since they've hired a coach, but they're all young guys. I think Minter makes a lot of sense. I think Robert Saleh is going to be in the mix there too.
Uncle Mike predicts, you heard it here first, Robert Saleh is going to get the Ravens job.
The Ravens job, okay.
I think that just makes. Imagine, all right, so he fixes the defense, and then instead of Zach Wilson, you have Lamar Jackson.
We're thinking McDaniel for Cleveland.
It seems like it's going that way.
Which is a really hilarious hire, considering you're firing Stefanski to bring in another guy who's kind of the same type of coach. Like normally you see coaches, like teams go in a different direction. Like the Jets fired Todd Bowles, they bring in Adam Gase. I feel like Stefanski, McDaniel, a little bit of the Spider-Man pointing meme, a little bit. Stefanski more accomplished, but
seems like Harbaugh's going to the Giants. I think
we might get that. That's the first domino. Could happen tonight, maybe tomorrow. That feels like
I think Stefanski goes to the Falcons. I think they get whoever of like if the Falcons hire Harbaugh, I think Giants get Stefanski.
What do you think? Miami, Halfley maybe or
Halfley because of the connection.
Yeah.
Who did I say just recently? I made like a little.
I didn't look at it. You put that in Slack. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I made like a little list right here. This is riveting entertainment right now. Me
looking through. Great.
Oh, here we go. So I said,
what are the Cardinals getting?
Browns, Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Cardinals, Clint Kubiak.
Oh, that's a great hire for them. If they get Kubiak, that's a great hire.
That's a long ass rebuild. Dolphins, Vance Joseph.
Oh, oof.
Falcons, John Harbaugh. Giants, Kevin Stefanski, but they can switch. Raiders, Flores, because Brady.
Sure.
Ravens, Saleh. Steelers, Minter. Titans, Matt Nagy. That's what I think happens.
Dude, Dolphins going from McDaniel to Vance Joseph.
You talk about different, right?
I mean, very different. Completely different. Could not get more different. But like as a Jets fan, I'm happy about that. I got no issues with them doing that. I think Dolphins fans would convince themselves and be like, oh man, we needed the defense fixed for so long. This will do it. Which Joseph's a great defensive guy. Like he's a really good defensive mind.
Would you rather hire him or Halfley?
Probably Halfley. Probably Halfley. Like
you lose Micah Parsons and all of a sudden mortal he looked.
Yeah, but at least he has the head coach experience at Boston College. Joseph has the head coach experience with Denver that did not go particularly well.
Well, he's just gonna say I never got a quarterback.
I think Halfley. Yeah, you could say. I don't know. I think Halfley would be more exciting for me just because he's never been a head coach at the NFL level. It's not like you don't have the same retread stink that you have with Vance Joseph, but I'd be more confident in the defense under Joseph. I guess I'll say that. I think Joseph's a better defensive guy than Halfley.
I don't think or want Aaron Glenn to get fired after this year, but if they do, I hope the Packers are bad again, and then Matt LaFleur's the guy.
Who's Brian saying LaFleur to Pittsburgh? Like,
Mike LaFleur.
I was going to say, we say Mike LaFleur. He is getting head coach opportunities. God, how insane would it be if the Steelers hired Mike LaFleur? Dude, dude.
Our first ever podcast. Oh. Maybe don't fire Mike LaFleur.
And then the Ravens hire Robert Saleh, and then the Ravens and Steelers fire the two longest tenured head coaches in the NFL to hire the Jets brain trust of 2 years ago.
And it works.
Yeah.
You don't tell me Saleh's defense with Lamar wouldn't work.
Oh my God. No, it probably would.
Imagine what he'd do with Kyle Hamilton.
LaFleur to the Steelers would be crazy. That feels so out of left field. Like that would be crazy. What are the teams? I think it's Arizona and Tennessee. He got opportunities with Tennessee. Probably Tennessee's interviewing everyone. I think they requested interviews with him. But anyway, man, we'll see what happens.
Now that league-wide coaching corner is concluded, thank you for tuning in
to
this podcast. Justin, feel free to sign us off as we prepare for our Dante Moore-less future.
It's okay. It's going to be okay, Mike.
I was the one saying it was going to be okay to everybody.
2027, Julian Sane will save you. CJ Carr will save us. 2027, Mike, Dante Moore will save us.
or Kyler can save us immediately. We don't have to worry about this.
Will save us. We'll see, man. But anyway, until next time, thank you all for joining us on the show today. You can follow Mike on Twitter @ByMikeLuciano. Follow me on Twitter, Justin Fried. Follow the Jet Press at the Jet Press. Download the Jet Press podcast wherever you get podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. We're posting a lot of stuff there. We're bringing back the mini games for those who missed those. The Guess the Jets, the blind rankings.
Is that what we're calling them? Mini games?
I don't know, man. What else we're calling? That's what I'm calling them. If you got a better name for them, let me know and I'll change it. That's in my head what they are. They're very fun to record, and we're gonna start pumping more of those out. So check out. We got a YouTube Shorts. We're putting them on TikTok. Might be putting them on Instagram in the future. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. You can also become a member today. Thank you again to Austrian Jet Fan who donated 10 memberships. You are, amazing. You are the man. We love you. You guys know what to do. We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you all for listening to Jet Press Podcast. I've been Justin Fried. That is Mike Luciano. See you guys next time.
R.I.P. Bob Weir for all the Grateful Dead guys out there.